Hey y'all!
Hey y'all!
Welcome back to another episode of Sipping on Love. So we recorded 2 episodes in one. Visually, you're gonna get what you get.
We still look good. You're welcome.
Don't judge me, judge them all.
Who wants this song?
So how you doing today, babe?
I'm doing well. Above all things, I'm doing very well. Just crazy how things been thinking lately. How we speak on things or talk about, just have simple conversations about things, and then movement starts happening.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, girl,
well, what I want to ask you is like, what's one thing that you look forward to next week?
having Monday off.
Okay.
No shade, like having Monday
Yeah.
off. Because a 4-day week is glorious. And I don't think people really appreciate a 4-day week.
Yeah.
Because it one gives you more time. It gives you time back. But then it also like really helps you keep the important shit. So that would be like what I'm looking forward to most next week. Having Monday off, some other additives.
Hey, Freedom Mom. Yes, our Virgo sister.
Oh, cool. Virgo mother. Family.
Yes.
The Virgo be Virgoing. And y'all know how Virgos are. And if you don't, I'll tell you, they be Virgos.
Well, for me, I'm learning. I mean, no, I am a scholar at heart. So I just like to learn, and I just want to make sure that I continue. And I'm referencing my job. I just want to learn as much as I can so I can increase the funds.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah,
Expeditiously.
And expeditiously, Lord. Please.
Because we need a coin.
All right, well, I love you.
Oh, you too.
I do. I love you. And I love how you take your time to fully weigh out your options and to get perspective. Like you're open to other people's perspective before you make decisions. And mind you, it's not needed. Because however you feel at the end of the day is what you should move forward with. But I like that you're open to suggestions, perspective, and that you move with what's best for not only you, but us.
Almost definitely. Like, I received that. Thank you.
I'm always on your mind. You know what? I heard that song, I was like, this is your song for me.
Because I said in your mind.
No. But yes. I'm always in your
Because you don't want to leave. You love it here. You love it here. It's rent free. That's the only rent that you don't got to pay.
Because, baby.
Rent,
Can I not
mortgage, ghetto. Okay. I love you. And what I'm really enjoying and loving about you is your innovation in your love languages. How you are finding new ways to love me your way. Specifically with your superpower of love languages, acts of service, like just random offers or just thoughts that you have. It's like, hey, I want to do this. So pick a time and boom, that's just it. I'm like, now don't introduce me to a vibe that you can't maintain because I might like that too much. Girl. And he like, I said 1 week. But like,
I introduced that I said I would address him for a week. I said a week. Talking about vibe, I can't maintain girl a week.
All I'm saying is like, but if you're good at what you do, why stop it? And where I'm at also, I don't think people really understand. Most of my time is wasted in figuring out what the hell I'm going to wear.
Me too.
Unless I have an idea the night before or that morning. But most times I'm just struggling to open my eyes and get in a people mode because y'all need to.
My friends know, like, especially the ones who I used to go to the club with, it took me about 2-3 hours to even pick an outfit.
Girl.
And if I put on something and you say, oh, you look good, I'm changing.
Because, baby, I need to look delicious.
Right. If you don't, if your expression is not giving, I feel like the outfit is not giving and I'm changing. And now you're more upset because I changed
or even later.
Right, because I'm like, girl, you should have, yes, like something.
Showing up at 2 a.m.
So
Club closed at 3.
I feel like people, like my best friend, he didn't have to experience that as much because I would already be dressed and going to his house.
Mm-hmm.
So the process was already done.
Yeah.
But if he came to my house and I had to find something to wear, or even if I went to visit him because he had moved later on, we going shopping. And if I can't find this at this store, let's go to another store, until we find something. So I don't know if I'm the only one that's like that, but I know I can't be the only one that's like that. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know.
I know you're not.
So, all right, well, so with this episode, we're gonna be on a more like serious note, I guess. We're gonna be talking about consent. And so with this game, I'm going to throw out scenarios of someone saying something, and you're going to tell me if it's an appropriate response or if it's inappropriate.
Receive. And also, before we get into the game, we're sipping on just simple Crown Peach on ice.
Yes.
That's it. That's all.
Don't y'all like our little his glasses?
Yeah. We found it that way. Thank you, at home.
You sure you didn't like swap the glasses?
We found it that way.
Oh, during Pride Month. Right. Okay, so with the game, with our his and his glasses that we did not swap, I'm gonna give
someone has a hers and hers edition, so hey.
Right.
You're welcome.
We thought about you. Look at us. Helping the community.
Okay, branding. There you go. It was our idea. We started it. Sipping on love. So okay. Just check.
So the game is gonna be called They Said What?
Cute.
They said what? Okay. So the manager says, let's just move her to a different department so she's not uncomfortable anymore. Is that appropriate or
inappropriate? Because did you have a conversation with them about what they actually wanted? Don't make a decision for people.
This protects the company, not the employee. It may feel like punishment for reporting.
Yep.
So HR says, I don't need to speak with everyone involved before making an assumption.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's common sense. That's the best way to cover your ass.
Shows neutrality and commitment to fair investigation. Okay. A witness says, I saw it happen. He made her uncomfortable, but I didn't want to get involved.
I'm gonna hone in on one area first, and then I'm gonna let my man take the rest. You can't dictate whether someone feels uncomfortable unless they communicated that they felt uncomfortable. Granted, yes, we can read body language, but that's still subjective from our own interpretation and our own perspective. You have to be 100% aware that like a person was uncomfortable before making a statement. Basically, don't take someone's right to choose. What did you have to add to that? Because I didn't want to take too much of that.
It was inappropriate, but what was stated was witnesses have a duty to report what they saw, especially in harassment situations. So I guess it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, report that you saw something, but going to the extreme of defining and trying to define the experience, that's not your job.
HR said, we need to document everything and notify legal before proceeding.
I need clarification of what is everything, and I can see...
Is it appropriate or not appropriate?
I would say yes, depending on the situation.
It's appropriate. Smart step to protect all parties and reduce risk. So I guess like taking statements, documenting statements, timestamps, everything. Interactions, meetings. It was just a joke. She's being too sensitive.
No. You don't get to decide that. You don't get to decide that. No, ma'am.
It's inappropriate.
Very much so.
Dismissing impact is a common deflection and doesn't negate harm. Okay, so
lack of accountability also.
A complainant said, I'm scared to report it because he's close with our director. Sorry, these contacts are getting a little dry.
Okay. That's inappropriate. No, I mean, that's real of an experience, but no one should be experiencing that. Because that's showing conflict of interest, and therefore leadership needs to get themselves checked, because that's your vision is skewed for effective accountability.
Red flag. And it signals a power imbalance and lack of trust in leadership. I had an experience like that at work. I told my boss, I was like, I thought y'all was friends. That's why I didn't say anything. And I didn't want you, you to brush it off. HR said, we take this seriously. You're not alone. Let's walk through the next steps together.
It's appropriate, but it's very posturing. It's very political correctness. It's not very genuine nor it's authentic. Like, you're just
on the person.
Okay. You just doing your job. That's a script you read from.
That's all I need to do. It's my job. Trauma-informed, respectful, and supporting. A complainant or accused said, I like a support person present with me in the meeting.
Oh, God, yes. Advocate for yourself because motherfuckers lie. That's very appropriate.
Everyone has the right to a support person during HR proceedings. All right, girl. They said what?
They said what? Because, girl, some of them things that they had said was foolish.
So, then you dive into the first question.
Let's go, because we're talking about consent. I'm glad that we are talking about this because...
My body, my choice.
Very much so, because it aligns with our overall theme for this season. But I also am glad that we had this conversation because I think it's important for people to understand when, where, and how consent shows up. But then also I think it's good that we're lifting some of these questions that we're lifting about, like, the longevity of consent, like when and where, when you're in a relationship, does it stop? Like, I have questions and hopefully we have answers.
Okay, so go with the first question.
Ooh. What is consent?
So consent falls in, I'm going to use this model, this Fry's model to help clarify what consent is. And it would give a better understanding of like what real consent should look like in any situation, especially if it's intimate or not. So with the Fry's, it's freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. Okay? So to break that down, freely given, there's no pressure, guilt, or manipulation. So we should not be feeling pressured to have sex. Nobody should make you feel guilty of like, oh, you should give this to me because I did this for you.
Yeah.
And there should be no manipulation of like a power dynamic. Because I'm your boss and I can, get you fired if you don't have sex with me, or you can only get this job if you do. There should be none of that. It should be freely given. It can be reversible. That's the R in Fry's. Reversible. You can change your mind at any time, before, during, or during the process.
And even after, because bitch, if it's trash, just let it work good.
Girl, no. During the, because it's too late. It's too late at that point.
I don't think so.
Before or during, you can revoke that. Now, you don't have to claim that sex partner, because I know a lot of us like to do, if it was trash, we don't have to claim that sex partner. But as far as consent, before or during, you can change your mind at any time. Then Fry's, next is the I is informed. No lies or hidden facts. So we don't want it to make it seem like, I want to do this with you. I want to have sex with you. But then when you get there and let's have a threesome. That's like, my friend want to have, my friend want to do a threesome with us, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a hidden agenda.
Right. I want to go back to Reversible real quick because I still want to say even in the after, it still does stand, especially for our entrepreneurs that like to document experiences. Consent still like, yes, you could have been consensual before and during to record.
Right.
But then definitely you have every right to deny that consent. It's like, hey, I don't want deleted.
Not even just that. That I'm so sorry. So you're right. After also is following into the enthusiastic. It has to be a clear, happy yes, not a reluctant maybe. So people who don't say yes, like if say, "Oh, I want to have sex with you," and it's not a yes, or they were like, or they don't give you a clear yes, or it makes it seem like they don't say anything at all, or people who are impaired, or people who are unconscious. So that he's correct with that after.
Yeah.
That after, even after the act has happened, you can revoke that consent because it was never there to begin with.
And you get to, and depending on where you are in that state of consciousness and awareness, you can come back and say, I never consented. You can definitely do that.
Yes. So you were correct on the after part. I do take that back. I apologize. And the S is specific in the fries. S is specific. Yes to one thing, but not yes to everything.
Next to the informed piece, I think.
So with this one, let's just say, yes, you can have a hug, but then that person leans in and grabs your ass. That I didn't consent to you grabbing my ass. I'm talking about in relationships, but I'm talking about like random strangers. You know, like a coworker. You know, you've seen that before, like a coworker. Like you have a rapport with a coworker, and then y'all joking, and then the coworker asks for a hug, and then he leans in for a kiss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't ask for that. You asked for a hug, not a kiss.
This is my story. I only laughed because when he said it felt very pointed.
So basically, consent is two people agreeing.
Yeah.
To sexual acts, any type of act, really.
So then, with that, with the saying that consent is basically two or more folks agreeing to engaging, not necessarily just a sexual act, but just any type of
interaction.
Interaction. So then, what does consent while in a relationship look like? Do you have to ask for consent every time?
Yes, because I feel like there's points in time where we don't know where the other person is mentally or physically. And sometimes they don't want to engage or interact with you in a sexual way. Sometimes some people don't want to be touched. Some people don't want to have sex, like they're not in the mood due to whatever reasons. And a clear no is no. No does not mean, silence doesn't mean yes. And I feel like some people feel like, oh, because we're in a relationship, you have to do this, or you have to, submit to me and please me and satisfy me.
Please don't align with those preconceived notions and expectations.
Right.
Expel those.
Everybody still has autonomy over their own bodies.
Most definitely.
Because we're together doesn't mean you own me.
And I will speak to that as well from personal experience. Like I've always been an individual that was heavy on choice. Because bitch, you're not gonna take mine. And I'm going to model what I want to experience by providing that experience for you. Or at least aligning myself with those principles. And I remember past experience, past relationship, like having a conversation with old dude, and it was just like, hey, like, do you feel, because I be knowing like when you ain't into it, like fuck this shit good. Like, what's wrong with you? And I even had the questions like, are there times that you felt obligated to have sex with me? And when they responded with yes, I said, whoa, hold up. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't like that is because like, you're not doing it because it's something that you want to do. You're doing it because you're operating off of what you feel I want.
Yeah.
Like you're just trying to appease me, people please me. I want a weak ass nigga. Let me just be clear.
What?
Like, this is my story.
We can't say
this is my story. If you ain't for it, say that. Because where I am, outside looking, not even outside looking
for
in,
him, y'all.
Right. And the reason why I have such trepidation and caution around that is because people can switch on you in a heartbeat, and what you thought was consensual, they'll turn around and make it assault. And it's just like, I like to be clear at all times. Hey, I want to hit that.
Did you provide a space for that person to feel comfortable to say, no, I'm not in the mood, maybe? You think?
Yes. Because I always ask. I'm not one that's just,
But I feel like, some people, they're constantly asking, and some people's sex drive is not as high as my man's. And if they're constantly saying no, maybe mentally in their mind, they're like, if I keep saying no, then maybe this person's going to feel a certain way, or they're not going to be as attracted to me, or they're not going to be sexually enticed by me and going to want to seek that from other people.
And that might be so. And no shade, that might be so. That was an experience of mine. It was all, but by the time it got to that space, it was beyond consent. It was more so
lack of communication, maybe.
It was definitely lack of communication, but it was also very clear there was just misalignment from the jump.
Y'all wasn't sexually compatible.
No, we were.
Y'all were.
But people wanted things their way at their time, and only their way at their time.
Got you.
And what I will say is that it's important to know who you're involved with, but it's important to know who you're involved with, but it's also very important to be very clear of who you are and what it is that you want. Mm-hmm. Because again, I think that comes back to the Fry's model of being informed and being specific. Because I think what we might have in our mind of, if for the sake of the conversation, we're just going to talk about sex. Like, if we're saying that, okay, hey, I want to have sex with you, but you also know that you have a more extravagant experience within sex, like you either are long-winded, or you have your different kinks, or you have all these other, like, you have to be specific of everything that comes in alignment with what sex is for you. That's why I say that, like, that consent the consent is so vital and so important, because again, it's the gateway for effective communication. Mm-hmm. Because you're practicing exposing your vulnerabilities, because especially consent in sex, you have to be clear. It's like, hey, like I look at it in the heterosexual world, for a bisexual man that has experienced both vagina and booty, and they're like, hey, I want to be up in you. I like you. I vibe with you. Da 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 da. And one thing I also will say is, like, folks be playing, like, y'all, a lot of y'all talk a lot of trash and all the things that y'all can do, the thumb thugs, of all the things y'all are able to do. Okay, be reminded, words mean things. And also, when you're saying that I'm going to do all these things to you, or all these things, that's a part of consent as well. So when the moment comes that it's time to make shit pop, make shit happen, and it's like, oh shit, bitch, I was just talking. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, calm down, wait. I just look at that of, like, being very, very specific within the Fries, but then also very, very informed of what you're saying and what you're actually signing up for. But then also, like my man said, making sure that y'all are actually in alignment, because I ain't gonna lie, like, yes, I have a high sex drive. That's it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And it's just like, there are times that, yes, I know, and you know when you know, that, like, you want it, but yet if your partner's not in the mood for it, like, okay, you have to accept the fact that your partner's not in the mood for it. That does not mean there is an impact on that you're less valuable or anything like that. Going off on a tangent. Pause. Go.
I was going to say that the only pushback I'm going to give to that is the people who talk. You said the people who elaborate on things that they can or are able to do, and then when you get there, they don't fulfill that fantasy. They still have a right to say no, or I don't feel comfortable. I'll make that part very clear, because I feel like you skated over that real quickly. So I just want to make that very clear, that they still can say, no, this feels uncomfortable. No, I'm not, they're not able to do this, that, and the third, or they don't want to do this, that, and the third. I think the part where it comes in is, do you want to keep messing with this person? If you had an expectation of this person and they didn't fulfill that fantasy, okay, do we now have a conversation of, okay, what is it actually that you can do, and what do you feel comfortable doing? Or is it that you lied, I don't want anything to do with you because you can't satisfy my fantasy, and I want to go find and engage with somebody else? I feel like that's where the conversation should lead after that. I feel like it's okay for somebody. I mean, it's not okay for you to lie. Because, all of us, we talk a lot of shit because we want to have intercourse with whomever that we are flirting with.
We love a chase.
Whoever we're flirting with.
What they say
And then when the time comes and you're like, oh, bitch, hold on, wait. I was just talking shit.
But see, and where I receive that, and where I lift need for additional development for the collective is, are we still establishing a safe space for consensual communication even in the act?
Right.
And I don't think we do.
And I was about to say, within the relationship, what I like about my man is just we're constantly checking in. Are you okay? How does this feel? Do we need to switch positions?
That ain't the question. Someone just...
No, that we do ask those questions though.
Yes.
And so I want to make sure that couples engage, use those questions as well. Is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. But then also
constantly checking in.
But then what happens the only reason why I'm adding to what you're saying is but it's okay to take ownership of that space and advocate for what it is that you need in that moment too. Because for some partners, you might be very, very much so into it, lost in emotion, and you do forget. I ain't gonna lie. But that's where, again, there has to be a consistent balance. There has to be, again, I go back to the Fries model, the space for reversibility. Hold on, wait, I know I said all these things like you said before, but it's wait, this is a little bit more than what I expected, or this, I'm not ready for all that, or whatever the case might be. And we have to be okay with being able to pivot.
But don't put that all on that person. I feel like you should still be asking those questions of, are you okay?
I'm not saying...
How does this feel?
I received that, but I'm also saying that there should still be space that if the question is not presented in that exact moment, that the receiving partner, the opposite partner...
We got to think about those people pleasers.
Even still. But I get that. I get that. But I'm addressing holistic just like you are, that it's at the end of the day...
It's both of them are kind of...
it's shared responsibility. Because again, going back... Because I'm sorry.
We're talking about consensual.
Yeah. Because I'm coming back to even this Fries model that if it's freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific, that means it's forever changing throughout the process. Because again, it was freely giving at the beginning, but then when I actually got into the mode and experiencing what I'm experiencing, it might be uncomfortable. It might not be what I imagined it to be. So I should be given the opportunity to reverse it and say, hey, we can still do what we're doing, but not like this. Or we can still do what we do.
I also feel like you should be cognizant of what's going on. I understand you saying being lost in the sauce. Reading body language or facial expressions. And if that seems a little questionable, I feel like that's when questions should kick in. You know what I'm saying?
And still, we
say the same thing. We say the same thing. So I just want to make sure you're not thinking I'm being combative. I'm just saying.
No, I said what I had to say.
Oh, okay.
Next question.
You feel froggy? You want to leap? You know what? Next question.
Oh, no.
Is body language or silence enough?
And is verbal consent always necessary? Yes. Because again, body language and silence, no, that's not enough. Because what you might be exuding, and I'm using my man specific as an example just for comparison, what he might exude or present through his body language or through his silence, I'm going to interpret that differently. Even with me knowing my man, right? For the time that I've been with my man and all that I've been able to understand and acquire of who he is in different spaces and places, that does not give me the ultimate authority, that does not provide me the ultimate authority of knowing him. I have understanding, knowing. And so that's why it's important, most definitely, that you gotta maintain that space of consistent communication, like you lifted before. There has to be those consistent check-ins, especially when you're consenting to trying new experimental things. I would strongly encourage, even in that mode of consent, to agree to engaging in it. Also, establish consent to what the safe words are, consenting to what the absolute no-goes are, what those boundaries are, establishing having a conversation of what type of fun sex you want to have, what type of sexual experience you want to have. Like, I think we allow this to become so taboo that we honestly curtail consent and basically just assign or align with a patriarchal mentality that because I have a label on you as partner, fiance, husband, wife, whatever, that I own you. And we don't own people. Okay?
I was going to say, assuming makes an ass out of you and me.
I mean, you got a lot of ass, but
Not that much, but it's getting there.
not.
Assuming makes an ass out of you and me, so I should not be assuming that your body language is saying just because you're wearing something revealing means you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I didn't say no doesn't mean I want it.
Doesn't mean yes. Just the absence of no does not mean yes.
Right. So assuming again makes the ass out of you for sure. So it's like we want to make sure it goes back to Fry's, that enthusiastic yes. If that person is engaging and saying, yes, I want to have sex with you, like, yes, you can move forward. But other than that, we're not going to assume anything here because what if you're wrong?
So can I be, I don't want to say devil's advocate, but counter response.
Okay.
So what if the yes isn't enthusiastic?
But it's like, yeah, it depends. Okay, it depends. I feel like, what's the power dynamic? Are you the boss?
Come on, next
the employee? Are you somebody with financial status or social status? Like, what is the relationship? Also, I feel like what's their body language? Are they hesitant? If they're hesitant in that yes, or again looks questionable, I would either let's pause this and let's have a conversation. Like, are you really okay with this? Is this something that you want? Because again, what if you're wrong? Like, what if they don't want this? Then what? Because I feel like those consequences are far greater than that. 30-minute satisfaction, 5 minute at the 1 minute.
For those that experience that,
that brief moment of satisfaction can bear a lot of consequences. And are you willing to accept those consequences?
Received. And I think that this goes back to the point of how this consent is a shared responsibility. Because going back to our previous question about, is body language or silence enough, and is the verbal consent always necessary? What happens when, again, those power dynamics come into play and you do not advocate for yourself? You consent due to submission.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how are you sure that consent is consent?
Mm-hmm. So when you say
given those power imbalances, specifically, like just giving the specific examples that you gave,
I feel like one, you should just avoid it. I feel like that's why many jobs have implemented rules on like that boss employee relationship, because those lines could be so blurred. Now if it's consenting, I feel like y'all should go to HR and let this be known that, hey, this is something that we want to consent to, so everybody is aware and is shown, so it won't backfire on whomever has the hierarchy. But I honestly feel like for me, I know you're saying like it takes both of them, but I feel like we still have to keep in mind either those people pleasers or pushovers. And those people who don't have a voice and they like the fight or flight, and they just freeze and they don't say anything because they're just stuck in that awkward moment, and so it just happens. So it's like I feel like we still have to think about those people when you're saying it's both parties, and I feel like we want that to happen in a vacuum and like for everybody, but that's not everybody's experience. So those people who do freeze up in that moment and just let it happen, but they really didn't want it to happen, I feel like because that wasn't a definite yes, but an absolute, but wasn't a absolute no, that didn't mean that they consented to it. And so that's where that moment of that other person, if they felt any type of hesitation, they read that body language, they should have known, like, let's pause this. Mm-hmm. Are you okay? Are you sure you want this? Mm-hmm. And if they're not responding, or if they like seem petrified, then let's not do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always feel like sex is not the end all be all. So if you don't get it from this person in this moment, there's always other opportunities, or there's other times, or there's other people that you can receive this from. Now, I understand we all like to chase, and you may want this from this particular person, but we all can't get what we want. Mm-hmm. And so if this person is not consenting to it, that's just like the same thing of somebody asking you for your number and you're like, hell no. Mm-hmm. Are the people like at the kiosk, you want to try this, and you just keep walking and you don't even acknowledge them? Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's all the same thing. And it's like, put yourself in that position. If they freeze up and you don't get anything from them, you should have read. Even during the whole interaction, you should have asked, are you okay? Do you feel comfortable? If you don't get any type of... Because in those freeze moments, I don't think that person's going to move or say anything. Mm-hmm. And if you were to engage and actually look at this person, or actually ask this person, are you okay? How does this feel? I'm pretty sure if they didn't respond, you should have stopped. If you kept going, I felt like you were being selfish in that moment and getting exactly what you wanted and not thinking about the other person. That's how I feel.
I had thoughts and responses. Mm-hmm. I mean, and not in opposition, but just spaces of consideration for our listeners. Because with all that was stated, there's still air of expectation there that people know how to read body language, that people have understanding of who they're engaging with.
I think people do. They just ignore it, because in that moment they're getting what they want. Mm-hmm. And not trying. They don't think about satisfying the other person. They're thinking about how they're being satisfied.
Received, and it still goes back to understanding who you're with. Because mm-hmm. especially if it's the first encounter, if it's just a link up or something like that, you don't have enough social context to really understand a person. All you know, all you're seeking is the initial and essential yes. Once you get that initial or essential yes, it's just like, okay, bitch, I can't help you beyond that. The only thing I'm adding to what you're saying is like, there's still a notion of care that has to be conducted when consenting. Mm-hmm. But then also, I think where folks do not really align or operate in is the reversibility of consent, that at any point in time, mm-hmm. I can say no. Mm-hmm. I can say stop. Mm-hmm. And even if I don't verbally say it immediately, my body can respond. I mean, listen. Let's come on. You tops, those that give, you know when shit is a little uncomfortable for you. When it's a little uncomfortable for you, imagine what your receiving partner or the bottom is going through. Whether they say shit or not, the faces will always tell you, because the faces will always tell you. Let's start there. The feeling and or sensation will also tell you. So you already got two experiences right there. Mm-hmm. And if you're not paying attention to that, what my man said, you being just straight out selfish. Mm-hmm. You just trying to dog that nigga out, and that's not cool.
Not at all. Because we do not like abrasions or any tears, because that's not comfortable at all. I'm gonna ask this question because I wanted to bring this up. How might power differences such as age, popularity, authority affect someone's ability to give consent? I think what we wanted to touch on was the legal aspect versus the ethical aspect. Legally, in a lot of states, you have to be 18 or older. Some is 17 or older. Louisiana is 17 or older. Some people wait till you're legally of age, and some people decide that they want to groom you until you become that legal age. And then that way that young adult has fallen in love with that older person.
You're conditioned.
So they groom you to kind of be comfortable with these inappropriate behaviors. And then once you become of age, of course it's frowned upon because of the age gap, and maybe they've known you for a long time since you were a child. But because you're of legal age, people can't, the police or whomever can't prosecute you.
Yeah.
But that person has been grooming you since you were a child. And I feel like we need more parents to identify like what grooming looks like and what's inappropriate behavior between an adult and a child, and how we need to put like words to like sexual parts. So like I remember, I forgot where I was listening to, but like this sexual therapist was talking about how parents need to teach their kids to use the like medical term for body parts instead of using like those
my nose zone,
those cute words like your cookie or your the soft your soft places or your no squares. Use this person touched my penis, this person touched my anus, this person touched my vagina. Like you need to teach your kids that, because when kids say stuff, they might say it in the way that it's not alarming. Like, oh, this person touched my cookie.
Yeah.
And you're thinking that it was an actual cookie.
Oreo.
Right. Sure. And so like now you're disciplining, well, you need to share and this, that, and the third. And so now they're thinking that, oh, this person is supposed to touch this.
Not even.
Oh, go ahead.
Sharing, but then also you're in a way dismissing it, making it seem like you just said that it's okay.
Yeah. So like we need to teach the medical and have our kids use the medical terms for, these the anatomy, so that these people are aware of like what's actually going on when these adults are being inappropriate with the kids.
I'll add to that when we talk about legal and ethical grooming. A really simple skill too that really starts with our parents and just adults that engage with our younger generations. You got to listen. And when you're listening, do something with what you're listening to. Because I think a lot of the times kids, yes, they might tell you things in jest. They might tell you things in passing. A lot of that, no shade, is a test to see what you actually want to do. Because if they see that you are a person about action, you're going to find out from experience as an educator, you're going to find out more. Because if they see that, oh, you actually took the words I said seriously, whether they were right or wrong, whether the situation was right or wrong, but because they saw that you take this work seriously of protection of consent, like you, number one, are, and this isn't just for younger kids, this is for any individual. You, number one, are actualizing their voice. You are honoring their existence and their experience when you are responding to what they're saying, that something happened to them, or when they say that I didn't consent, whatever the case may be, you are validating that person. Anything opposite of listening and responding in the way that they're listening to what they're saying and responding to what they're saying, anything opposite of that, you are validating the consistent notion of harm. Like, so that those are things that take into consideration into process. So when we're talking about the aspects of grooming, like you have to be considering like what message are you telling them in that moment that's going to perpetuate to be their truth for their future.
And I was going to say, to add on to that part, two things I want to say. One, because of technology, I feel like parents need to monitor like their children's social media a little bit more.
And there's no excuse as to why you can't.
Yeah, because I feel like that's where a lot of grooming, a lot of bullying, a lot of things happen that parents are unaware of.
A lot of the inappropriate interactions.
So I want to make sure that parents are a little bit more aware and involved in what's going on with their children when it comes to technology, but also with the response piece. I want to make sure that parents don't react, because I feel like depending on the type of verbiage that you use, I feel like that's going to also put a lot of pressure on their child. If you say, oh, has this person ever touched you? Because I'm going to kill him. Then that child is going to internalize, well, okay, if I tell my parent this and they do kill somebody, that means they're going to jail. So that means that it's my fault that my parent's in jail. You know what I'm saying? I think parents need to not react, but respond responsibly by saying like, oh, I'm going to protect you. Oh, I'm going to make sure that this person doesn't hurt you again. Oh, I'm going to make sure that we're going to do everything in our power to keep this person away from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't react, but respond responsibly, because that can also add trauma to that child. Because that's also why a lot of children come forward with trauma as well, because they're afraid of how their parents are going to react.
Yeah.
And if their parents react negatively, that can put them in a place of a disadvantage.
Yeah.
That's going to bring more trauma to that child, if you get what I'm saying. If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Okay, so well, with that, how does social media and texting complicate boundaries?
Social media is a false depiction of reality.
That part.
Text messaging is received and translated through the lens and experiences of the receiver. That's the best way I can put it. And so when we talk, first off, it goes back to what my man said earlier. Our people, our collective, our communities have so much more access to information that you have to start having conversations about consent earlier than what we expected or what we would socially deem appropriate.
I feel when you start having a sex talk, which a lot of parents don't, but when you start having that sex talk, you also need to have that consent talk.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that honestly should start once you notice that your child is showing attraction to other people. I'm not going to give it to the opposite sex. When you start noticing them saying, oh, I like this person, or they look, even if it's a famous artist or songwriter or song performer, whatever, Harry Styles, Taylor Swift, because for whatever reason, those immediately come to mind with me. Because whatever.
White.
And that's what what every person is forced to consume. Like, it's like, okay, well, what is it that you have questions? Like, again, entering that inquiry or that curious stance, that learner stance. What is it about them that you like? Right? Oh, well, if you were to ever meet them, like, what would you want to experience? Like, even though I know it's weird to have these type of conversations, it's only weird because you've never done it before.
Because I would say not having the conversation is not helping.
Exactly.
Because
and you're not helping build critical thinking.
Right, because this day and age, a lot of kids are exposed to sex. It's so easy. Again, everybody is grown up. We grew up in a generation where technology was kind of introduced to us slowly.
We grew up with the development of technology.
Now the kids are infants have tablets, and it's like exposed to technology and social media and so it's like you kind of have to, you can't hide sex. You don't want to not have the conversation because kids have questions. Kids become curious, and if they can't come to you, they're going to experiment.
They're going to experiment, and in that experimentation, if they don't have the proper safeguards and parameters and self-preservation skills, consent's going to become an obsolete concept for them. And I know we keep specifically honing in on the younger generation because, again, let's call a thing. Hurt people, and that's a vicious cycle that perpetuates hurt adults. Because, again, when young folks are exposed to certain things without the necessary tools to protect themselves and also to advocate for themselves in a way that honors who they see themselves as, honors their sexual being, like, or however they connect, describe. Like, if they don't have those tools, they unfortunately become broken. And it takes and I hate to put it in that terminology, but I think that's the best way to give us a understanding or a visualization of the cycle that happens here. They become broken, and it's until like they come across individuals that are fortified, that have experienced those teachings and those experiences of what healthy consent and healthy engagement look like, that again, it goes through a whole renaissance of relearning how to protect myself.
And I was going to say, I'm going to stick to the kids for right now. I feel like, a lot of schools do sex ed. Some schools don't. Whether you get it from your parents or whether you get it from school, and like I stated earlier, I feel like consent should go with that conversation. I feel like focusing more on the parents aspect, you will want to protect your kids when it comes to technology, because teaching your kids that when you send a new photo,
come on,
and that child needs to say that I'm only sending this to you, or your child who receives that new photo, they should have the understanding that if I send this photo to someone else, you're breaking the law. And you can be held responsible and do either jail time or whatever. Like, I think we don't think about the consequences. We just think of it as kids being kids.
Moment, yeah.
Kids just being kids, and it's just like, no, there's going to be that one parent that
knows their child's right.
That right, and going to press charges, and now your child is in a situation that they put themselves in. We're not going to blame the child who sent the photo, but we're going to blame the child who sent that photo out to without that child's consent.
The violator.
So So that's why I want to make sure. I feel like at this point, I don't understand how we have not incorporated this into the sex talk, but I feel like we should incorporate consent, because kids don't have that understanding. They're thinking they're just sharing this photo with their homeboys.
Yeah.
And now this has spread to the school. Because I've had that situation. Everybody had the chatter, this girl's, a photo of this girl with her boobs out has spread throughout the whole school. Now she's shamed. Now she feels the type of way. And now her parents want to press charges. All this girl has to do is say exactly who she sent these photos to. The police can do an investigation, and this person can be arrested. There's laws behind this to protect that person. So I feel like kids, when we have this conversation, we need to have that talk that, yes, kids being kids, but we need to understand the law as well.
Yeah.
That you cannot violate this person's rights.
And adding to that, when we talk about the complication of it, I think that there tends to be a lack of accountability or of awareness of the accountability, especially when you're engaging through social media and text messaging. Because now we're going to hone in on our adults, right? That utilize various apps and online platforms to find their people. Same concept there, that like, because I think about back in our day. I think about in previous, years, decades, when we would have the catfishing. That's a violation of consent too, y'all. Like, when you were taking someone else's identity and you were presenting yourself as that's a violation of consent, because think about it. It's a duality or duplicity in it. Number one, you're already fucked up because you took someone else's identity and you're portraying yourself, presenting yourself, you're posturing yourself to be someone that you're not. That's a violation of consent, because did you ask the person whose identity that you're borrowing to do so? That's also a federal crime, identity theft. Second thing is, be reminded, this is the beautiful thing about people, y'all humans. Like, what's also happening here, be reminded, people are entranced and encapsulated with the lustful vision of engaging with the representative, not with you. So then what happens when it's time to do the deed? Y'all show up and you're not who you say you are. But this is also an area where consent is always violated, because I think about our trans brothers and sisters, our queer brothers and sisters that have been unfortunately lodged into those loopholes and those little traps of people posturing and presenting to be one person with malicious intent, not to have sex, but to kill and to cause harm. And then it's like, again, we have to be reminded, consent is also a very vulnerable act, because we are trusting you to an extent and to a degree that most times we would not on a normal or regular basis. So consent is also establishing the boundaries and the parameters in which I'm willing to engage with you. This is basically, always look at consent as your rules for engagement with that particular person. Consent is not transferable from one person to the next. Consent is individualistic and it's relational based. So again, you have to give it that honor and that sacred space to breathe and to be. And if not, you're in violation of it.
When you brought up the apps, I also thought about people who send nudes unsolicited. That's another thing.
What the hell is there?
Right, but that's also like non-consensual because you're sending these photos. That's the same as you whipping your dick out in public. We just don't. It's just not as reported because the person will report the photo, or they'll block you. Yeah. So it's easier to get away from you. But I equate the two as the same because why would you send me, a nude unsolicited? I didn't ask for this. We had no rapport. There was no discussion. So it's just like, and I used to, when I was on the apps, I used to just delete that person. Like I said, because it's so easy just to report that photo and just move on. That's why it's not reported. But I still equate that as somebody whipping their dick out in public because you don't know this person. They just pulled their penis out and just did this. So it's just like, because we're in the topic of technology, just not do that. Not send unsolicited nudes. Don't constantly harass somebody for sex, especially. Don't you hate when you go in the thread and you just see them messaging you and you have not responded at all? Like, I know that's also annoying, but like constantly like, hey, how you doing? This, that, and the third. I want to do this to you. Oh, I wish I could do that to you. Like, just unsolicited messages of things that you want to do to me sexually. And I'm like, I'm not even interested. I didn't ask for this. I don't want this. Like, why are you still trying to engage with me when obviously I'm not responding to you? I'm speaking more to the person who's doing this. Stop that. Have respect for that person. If you see that this person is not interested, move on. Like they say, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Find somebody else who's interested. There's a lot of people, especially if you're on
those
apps. There's plenty of people.
You gonna find somebody
who want to do those sexual acts. So, and if you don't find somebody on there, okay, that means your approach. You need to change your approach because obviously whatever you're doing is not attractive. So, like, or conducive to what that person is looking for. So, like, change your approach or be more respectful because sending unsolicited messages is not going to get you any play in some instances. And a lot of the time, you could catch a charge because that's a form of harassment.
Especially if you're consistent with it after either constant lack of engagement or if the person is consistently saying
they're
stop.
Not interested. Stop. They're not interested. So
you're going to jail.
You're going to jail.
So with that same mention, let's shift now to the opposite end, right? So how do you personally recognize when you're truly comfortable with the situation?
If I don't have to think twice about it, I feel like, for me, if I don't have to think twice about it and it's something that I feel comfortable in doing, there's something that I want to do, if I've made it clear that this is something that I want to do, if I've showed up and said, and throughout the act, said, hey, I'm okay with this, yes, this feels good, blah, 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 if I've shown enthusiasm and confirmed in your mind that, this is what I want, I know that for sure that I feel comfortable with it because I never had to second guess it at any point in time. I felt comfortable to say, oh, let's switch positions. Oh, mind you, I'm not going to lie. I've had maybe like three or four one-night stands. But typically, I don't do one-night stands. I try to get to know the people first. And whether that's for, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, I try to at least get to know who it is that I'm about to engage with, even if it's about to be for a brief moment. I don't just pick somebody off the street and be like, let's do it. Let's do the do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there could be either lack or miscommunication And I feel like a lot of people don't have good intentions, and a lot of people are not honest about their status. So it's like you want to be sure that you at least know who it is that you're about to engage with. But again, if it is a hookup, be responsible.
Yeah.
Be very responsible who it is, and who it is and how you engage with that person. So, yeah. What I am.
Apparently, immediately for me, what comes to mind is like, I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. Like, if I tell you, wait,
Which one?
I like you, and I want you.
Oh my God.
Within consent.
Okay, like, please.
One thing I can say is like I've come to understand people in my life. Definitely understand my man, but I also look at like getting to the point of being at a space where I am best with my man now. Like, I don't sugarcoat shit. I don't leave ambiguity or confusion. Like, I believe in direct and clear communication. And if I don't feel that I can be direct and communicate with you clearly, that already puts me in a restricting position. And if I feel that my voice cannot be heard, I cannot express myself in a manner that I know I need to express myself for my own safety, for my own protection, for my own safeguards, that already tells me, no, no, you ain't getting all this. It's a lie. You ain't getting all this. So that for me is like how I'm able to recognize it. Am I able to talk to you freely? But then beyond talking to you freely and directly, are you comprehending what the fuck I'm saying? Because no shade, some of y'all are dumb as fuck.
Oh, God.
And if you agree, like this video. Share it with a friend. Because we have to call a thing a thing. There are some individuals whose elevator does not go to the top floor after we make it clear, no, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. No, I don't. Motherfucker, I said no. And then eventually when you get to that point of frustration that it's like, I've communicated, I've shown you, I've modeled, but then I even gave you redirection and you still want to do what the fuck you want to do, I no longer feel safe here. But then on the flip side, when I have communicated, and not only do you take in consideration of what I've said, you come back with more questions to seek deeper understanding of, okay, well, I understand that you don't like this, but what about this? And how does this connect with that? And I like this. And how does that align? Or seek understanding. Even in understanding, an experiment. Because you don't know what you don't know until you know what you know.
And what I was going to add to that is be clear on your boundaries. Because I know there's a lot of gays out there, for sure, who are willing to sacrifice or submit to certain things that they're not comfortable with, all because they want to engage sexually with a particular person. So like, ooh, I've been status. Right, or because I've been trying to hit this, or ooh, I feel I'm attracted to this person and I don't want to lose them, so I should do this, that, and the third to,
baby. If you got to do all that, he wasn't yours to keep in the first place.
So that's why I want to make sure you stay clear on your boundaries and stick with that, because we don't want to blur the lines of people pleasing and something that you want to experiment with. Something that you found interesting or something that you're open to versus people pleasing. Because I feel like with people pleasing, this is something that you don't like and something you do not want to do, but you do it anyway, versus being open-minded and something that you want to try. I feel like there's a difference. And so if you're clear on your boundaries, you're going to know that difference of which avenue you're going to veer off to. So
with what my man said, it takes us into a space of talking about victim blaming. And first, let's clarify what victim blaming is, and let's go into a conversation about how it happens and how we can deviate from those occurrences. So first and foremost, victim blaming is...
Were you reading it?
I'm reading it from Inside Southern EDU.
Okay.
I believe it's a college.
Yeah.
But so basically what it's saying is that victim blaming is one reason people is basically a person distancing themselves from an unpleasant occurrence and thereby confirming their own invulnerability to the risk. So basically, when they're labeling or accusing the victims, others can see the victim as different from themselves. People reassure themselves by thinking, because I am not like her, because that did not happen to me, because I don't do that, or I don't align with those types of people, quote unquote, this would never happen to me. And so basically, it's helping us with, number one, it's a negative help. We're othering. Mm-hmm. We're marginalizing, but then also we are putting distance between ourselves to basically say that experience is only true to you and it can never happen to me, and that is not.
Right. And I feel like there's a lot of nuances around the reason why this happens, because I feel like, one, it could be due to culture. Mm-hmm. It can be due to gender norms. Mm-hmm. It can just be due to experiences. And I feel like just because you're religious and you dress in your kitten heels and your pleated skirts doesn't mean that it was okay for me to be raped because I wore a miniskirt and a bustier.
Yeah.
It's not okay that, I was, all right, it wasn't that I was asking for it because I wore a bathing suit
at a pool
and I hugged a man and he thought that I wanted something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just because, that's what I say, I feel like a lot of gender norms, a lot of culture, a lot of things are based around that. And I feel like people need to have more sympathy for people. Because, it's not something that, even if it's something that you have not experienced, mm-hmm. it's something that you could have, because, one, we put so much focus on the victim instead of, so you always hear like, oh, she was asking for it, or, oh, she shouldn't have been doing this, she should have been doing that. But it's like, why didn't the man keep his hands to himself? Mm-hmm. Why didn't the man control himself?
We never questioned the conduct or the decisions mm-hmm. of the aggressor.
Or even vice versa, female. Because, there are females.
That's why I said the aggressor.
Yeah, so why did the aggressor not compose themselves? Why didn't they keep their hands to themselves? Why did they feel the need to be compulsive and do this act instead of, oh, this person invited this person? Just because a person dressed a certain way, just because a person acts a certain way, doesn't mean that they elicited. Even sex workers, just because their line of work is sex work, doesn't mean that they were asking to be raped.
They have standards too.
Standards, whatever. They have the autonomy to consent. And if they said no, bitch, they meant no.
No means no. And I think that's the piece that I think people, for whatever reason, struggle with, because no shade, no is the same in a lot of languages.
It also starts at a young age. You know why? Because if a young child, let's say a young girl wears something a little too skimpy, oh, that girl fast. Mm-hmm. Oh,
specifically black girls. Let's call the thing a thing.
That girl is, well, we say that because that's our experience. That girl is fast. Mm-hmm. Oh, her breast is grown out. Oh, so that girl she been having sex. Or she,
since you're feeding the cat.
If her hips spread, oh, she been, stay away from that girl because she's been involved in sexual,
mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that girl's a hussy because she dressed a certain way. Like, I feel like they start off young. And mm-hmm. so now you're indoctrinated to think that, oh, if I dress a certain way, oh, if I do behave a certain way, I'm inviting these grown men to look at me, when these grown men should conduct themselves and mm-hmm. not be attracted to a child.
Right, which therefore shifts the conditioning that puts our younger generations on a far more volatile status, that they always have to be on pivot, always have to be on watch, or bitch, whatever happens to me, and that should not be the case, which takes us to even victim blaming.
Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
Which basically talks about how we marginalize the victim or the survivor of these instances. And basically it makes it harder for them to come forward to talk about these accounts, because what we're saying is that from the victim or the survivor's perspective is that we're living a society that blamed you, the victim, for their abuse. Because you conducted yourself in this way, this is why this happened to you, and you should be blamed for it. Not the perpetrator, not the aggressor, not the damn adult, the 35-year-old that's coming at a 12-year-old. None of that. Like, we don't look at the realistic accountable measures here of like the shit that shouldn't actually matter. We only look at the fact that, oh, this happened to you, but bitch, how were you literally? But bitch, how were you dressed? How were you engaging? Why didn't you tell him no? How am I, a younger person, a smaller person, supposed to tell a more powerful being, a more older being, someone that I should be able to trust and rely on to have self-regulation, to be able to conduct themselves when engaging with me? It's not my fault that you're attracted to me, but you should have the self-capacity, the self-regulated capacity to basically come back and say, you know, hey, you good over there.
And that's why, and respect those boundaries and know what their limitations are.
Yeah.
And that's why we have those situations where the whole family knows that this man has molested the little cousin, and the whole family is just keeping it quiet because now we're protecting the predator instead of the child. And now when this child grows up with all these problems, the child is looked at as the problem instead of the focus being on what caused this child to have trauma and to act out. So that focus is like we always shift the blame on the other person, or we have situations where somebody has presented themselves in like a charismatic or charming way that the neighborhood or the community, oh, I can't see them doing that. Whole while he didn't rape 10, 20 different people, and they still don't believe that he did it because that's not their experience with him.
Yeah.
Right, that's not their experience with him, so they can't see him doing this.
But at the end of the day, the whole world can't be wrong. If you're getting consistent accounts and consistent reports from various different people about the same person, somebody's telling a lie, and it's not the majority.
Even if you have one person, I'm not going to...
That's the majority.
I'm not, right, because I'm not going to automatically negate what they're saying. We're going to hear what they have to say. Let's investigate. If we have evidence to help...
That's the piece. I don't think people... Because depending on who it is and who you're connected to and how you might identify will dictate how serious they actually take any occurrence of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape at all. Because again, if you're not white and blonde and a white woman talking about something that happened to you from a black person specifically, it's not taken seriously. Because if it's black on black, regardless of race, regardless of gender, even if it's white on white, granted, yeah, they're going to actually activate something and do something about it. But we also live in a society that they don't care about certain people's lives. Let's call a thing, and especially if you're in the deep South, good luck.
That's what I would say. About 80% of the time, a person knows their assaulter, like whoever assaulted them, they know them like 80%
and most times
of the time. And that's why a lot of rape victims don't like to come out, because of the victim blaming or the shame. And mostly because of the shame. And it's like,
but why?
We shouldn't even have a culture where there should be shame, but there are people that make you feel bad. Because like I said, because that's not their experience with that person, they're going to automatically think you're lying. Or if, God forbid, you live your life opposite of them, or in a way that they don't seem as conservative, then they don't believe you to begin with. And if it did happen, then you asked for it, because you're a hussy, or you're seductive, or you're a loose woman. You know what I'm saying? Or so it's like, and I feel sorry for the men as well, because a lot of gender norms and all these other things come along with that as well. So
yeah.
I just feel like we just need to believe people the first time, listen to what they have to say, and investigate. Because that's always like, and that's why people don't come forward, because they don't have the support.
Mm-hmm. And it's a history of consistent support lacking. I know horrible English, but like I don't have to experience it to know that y'all don't take claims of sexual assault, harassment, things of the like in that regard from Black gay men the way that you would from a white woman, a cisgendered white woman, a cisgender heterosexual white woman. Let's call a thing a thing. They're not going to be aligned or addressed on the same level of fervor and intensity and actual due process. Like, let's call it, it's just not going to happen.
So that we can say that the justice system does play a part in that, because which is why we need to know. We need to know our rights. Mm-hmm. We need to know our state's laws. Because
you need to know who the fuck you dealing with.
Because a lot of the time, even if it's, like I said, you don't know, and that's unwarranted. Bitch. You need to know your laws, your state's laws, because sometimes the judicial system just doesn't work in your favor. Mm-hmm. And that's why a lot of people doesn't come out, because now they've exposed themselves. Yeah. And then the perpetrator gets off.
And now that you a target, because there's no legal protections for you.
Right. So it's like, we need some changes within our judicial system as well.
We need far more inclusion. And I think this brings us to an area to kind of like talk about how we've talked a great deal about consent. We talked a great deal about the different perspectives of both angles. Mm-hmm. Then we also went into victim blaming and honestly honoring the victim. Now let's talk about how do we respond to sexual harassment. Basically, what is it that best ways to communicate, how to document it, who should we be telling, who should we be reporting to?
Go ahead with the first one.
So the first one is like, with the communication, no means no. Mm-hmm. And I think that, and I said this before early in this episode, no is the same in a lot of languages. So I don't understand why we be confused. Yeah. Like, when a person says no, that should tell you something. Also, I'm going to share some social context with you. No response is a response. Yeah. And that response is no. Yeah. Silence does not speak consent, even though that is what we like to align with the quickest and the easiest, because that's what's easiest. But no response is a response, and the response is no.
Especially if that person is impaired, and especially if they're unconscious, because they couldn't give consent to begin with. And I don't understand people who have sex with people who are unconscious. I found that weird. So
I mean, people have sex with dead corpses, so
this is true. But the people who aren't dead, and if you decide to do that, be willing to deal with the consequences, because baby, these are your actions.
But yes. I'm gonna leave that alone, because I was about to go into conspiracy theories. It's
like conspiracy, like you said, no means no, and
no means no, and indeed. But then when you got wig,
absent of yes means no.
Yeah, absolutely. But then when you got individuals like Wig up in here doing what the hell he want to do, grabbing pussies and shit, and getting off for it with a little price tag.
Which is why we said we need to change our judicial. Why can't I say that word? Judicial system.
There's something in this liquor.
So next you want to do is document it. So if you're being sexually harassed, or if you're just being harassed, period, whether that's at work, whether that's at home, through social media, document it. If you can record conversations, if this person is reaching out to you through text message, screen record, print out all emails, or if you're at work, if this person grabs you, right? This person grabbed me at this time.
On
this person on this date. This person hugged me at this time on this day, unsolicited or unwanted. Document that. That way you can build up a case. That way they can either pull up the cameras to help support you, and what you have to say are, "Hey, I have this documented of every interaction I've had with this person." And if you have witnesses, that can go a long way as well.
Absolutely. And then going back to communicating, no means no, but then also, just like in consent, at times you need to be very, very specific in saying how you are touching me is inappropriate and unwanted. So therefore, you are now on record in saying specifically what they're doing. Because one thing that folks will do is play the game of convenient amnesia.
Okay.
It's like, well, I don't know what happened. I didn't. Shut the fuck up, you basic bitch. You know what you did. Own your shit. And if you can't own your shit, to jail with you. Either way, you're going to jail. And so I talk about that. So like really being specific and identifying, call a thing. Because when we sit up and just say, I just felt uncomfortable.
Tell someone.
That's not that.
Yeah.
You can tell them, but that does not give context of the actions or the experience that caused the discomfort. All you're saying is what the end product of how you felt. What the fuck did they do? What did they say? So therefore, you're building a case to justify you responding in the way that you are, because that's another thing that I think that tends to happen in the victim blaming piece. We're always quick to identify and abrasively address the response, but we never address the instigatory action that caused the response in the first place, which consistently paints a picture or a narrative specifically for our Black and brown folks, regardless of identity there, but Black and brown folks, that we overreacted. We did too much. We should have known better. The shoulda, coulda, woulda. No, it's not. There was a lack of consent for my body, for my presence, for my ability to advocate for myself because you felt that you were far more important. No, that's a fucking lie. Go ahead.
And when I say tell someone, at least notify someone like what's going on. Like, so they can also be aware. Like, if somebody made you feel uncomfortable, at least let somebody know, like, hey, this person grabbed me, but I don't know if they meant to, or, if this was intentional, like, so somebody else can have an eye out, or at least somebody knows. That way, if something happens to you, that person can be either a witness or somebody who was aware of a situation that was going on. Just in case if it escalated, then that person now feels comfortable to report it.
CYA. Regardless of what you're doing in your personal life, when you notice that shit's getting a little shaky, you need to always have an advocate, again, and or ally. Someone that understands the work, the space, the community, all the things. Hell, you. You need to have an ally in these spaces, because one thing I will say, this is a very, very hard road to trod by yourself.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you against the world, and you actually are right? Like you've done all the right things. You communicated no, you reported to the higher ups, and people still ain't doing what the fuck they need to do. You always want to make sure that you have that advocate, that ally, that safe person in your community, in your network, that's going to go at bat for you when nobody else is willing to listen.
And so if the last thing is to report it.
Yeah.
Report it, whether that's to the police, whether that's to your higher ups at work, whether that's to HR, report whatever situation is going on. And I always feel like those people who don't feel comfortable reporting it, like, cause we always say they don't report it. What I'm gonna say is, especially in rape, document it. While it's fresh in your memory, write exactly what you saw, what you experienced while it's fresh in your brain.
Yeah.
And I would say, I know some people shower, at least save those clothes.
Yeah.
Ziploc bag them and put them somewhere else. That way, because you never know. One day you may have the courage.
Yeah.
To speak out and, finally report this person or report this incident. So I always say, one, just if you don't feel comfortable with talking with anybody, one, document it. Two, save those clothing. And three, know your laws. Because again, we don't know what your laws, statute limitations are. And you don't want to go too long, or you don't want to come to a place where you finally got the therapy that you needed and you're in a space to now report it, but now it's too late. You know what I'm saying?
The receivers of the information, the whistleblowers is what I will call them. The mandated reporters, educators. When you see something, say motherfucking something. Stop it. We be scared about the wrong shit. We're scared to do the right thing, but we're never scared to be ignorant. Help me understand. When you see bruises, marks, I remember seeing I actually remember seeing Gabriel.
Yes, that's my go-to.
Like, I remember seeing recently on social media, like, they were teaching people that, like, you got to be far more vigilant. That's why trafficking is happening. Women trafficking is happening so aggressively because we're not paying attention to the signs. When you see young women, regardless of age and race, when you see women, regardless of age and race, engaging with men or in a position with men that does not seem right, feel right, or look right, do something. Even if you're fucking wrong. I'd rather you be fucking loud and wrong than be quiet and right and inactive. Because I was seeing this clip that was talking about basically like when like showing you like the different signs to look for, and the amount of people in this demonstration, in this little lab experiment, I guess we can call it, where a woman was with a man, various ages, various ethnicities and identities, and as they're passing random people, they're grabbing them to get their attention, and then behind their back, they're cupping their hand like this. Sign language for, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, I'm not going to say that. But basically, that is a symbol of distress. Help me. The amount of people that ignored that sign, turned around, looked at the woman, and whatever, also the engagement and the body language spoke to it in itself. But in that same vein, some people, predominantly women, I don't know why that came out aggressive, but it's like, y'all can't sit up here and blame everybody else for y'all problems when y'all not trying to fix y'all problems, especially when y'all are relying on one another to fix y'all problems. No one else knows the plight of a woman better than the woman.
I think that was due to lack of like being ignorant of, I guess, knowing that
the scene.
Yeah.
But again, if a random baby coming to you, man to man, gay man to gay, queer man to queer,
girl,
because I'm coming.
But we all different.
We are all different.
You can't put how I'm gonna react, how somebody else gonna react.
Yes, and when a stranger reaches out to you, no context, no nothing, reaches out to you, looks at you, y'all keep walking, and behind their back, they doing this.
What the hell? Again, you don't know.
But hold on. Yeah, for me, and again, this is me, but still, y'all, let's put 2 + 2 is 4.
Let's get educated.
If this shit, why would people do something that's unorthodox, unnormal, non-traditional to get your attention? That's an alert. Pay attention. Wake up. Get out of your phones. Get out of your individualistic walk of life and realize that we are better together. We're stronger together. And when someone is vying for a ray of life, a shot at life, though not from your perspective that you may not see it, like, this is again where we talk about coming into that learner stance, being curious. What the fuck is going on? Why would you reach out to me? Maybe because I'm the first person that they fucking saw while they're in a life or death situation because they don't know where they're about to head to. We're in a public space. It's just like we have a responsibility as a human race
to be aware
and to be concerned about one another. And I think what we're lacking is the communal connection that capitalism and patriarchy does not allow. Yeah. I'll leave that there.
I agree. It's just, that's why I say in that situation, I feel like that was just ignorance, and I feel like we are all allowed to be able to grow, but we need more exposure to situations like that. I feel like with sex, how sex is taboo, a lot of people don't talk about missing kids. A lot of people don't talk about like what are the signs of somebody that's in distress. You know,
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to have more conversations about that, and I feel like that's what we. Oh, I was about to say that's what we lack as a community.
Because there's no universal language of distress. Every community, every culture, every identity has their own way.
But this is where I need like big organizations, the ones who represent like sexual abuse, sex trafficking,
to define that.
I need them to pay for advertisements or education on this is what we need to look for. I feel like we don't have that. We just have call 1-800 if you see something suspicious. We don't know. Everybody suspicious could look like something different. And not everybody can recognize the signs. So I feel like if we had prioritized more funds towards what we need to identify, because not everybody's going to go looking for that information. You know what I'm saying? But if you put that on the billboard, if you put put that in reels, TikTok is booming right now. If you was to put that in a TikTok of what to look for and paid influencers, hey, to put this information out there, I feel like we would advance a little bit more. I feel like right now we're only focused on trends, whether it's beauty, cosmetics, fashion. You know, we're focused more. Companies are more likely to invest in that instead of safety.
And what immediately what I heard from what you said is that we need to we need to have a stronger focus on prevention and response, because
prevention and safety.
Well, but in that realm of safety, prevention of the harm with rape, sexual harassment, any of those things, prevention of it, but then also the proper way and the universal languages to respond to it, not react. Because react tends to get an emotional charge with it, but respond, so therefore it's eradicated from the system and the culture of that particular space.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to put Band-Aids on broken necks and legs, and y'all.
Broken bones, huh?
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
A bone needs far more time and care and intentional practice in order to fully heal.
Okay. Believe our victims until the evidence,
until the evidence points otherwise. And if the evidence don't point otherwise, you need to believe your victim.
Yes.
People, why?
And that's that on that. Period. Okay, per. My body, my choice. So, girl, let's take a woosah.
Take a woosah.
Because, girl, that was a serious topic.
It was a serious topic.
A lot of information.
And that's the end of our season.
Yeah.
That's season 3 with you and me.
Yeah. Yes.
And wow.
Yeah.
What a journey we've been on.
Yeah. I try to make sure that we ended off with something informational.
Yeah.
And something that people can fully think about and digest, and how can they improve or how can they be educated more.
Absolutely.
On that last thought. So now it's time for our
tipsy talk.
So for our tipsy talk, I wanted to talk about a time or a situation where you may have felt uncomfortable and how you have maneuvered through that whole interaction. It could be something light. It don't have to be nothing heavy. Like the time somebody want to slap the shit out of somebody, like, girl, don't try me. You crossed the boundary.
You grab it all the time.
Does somebody kiss you?
No. I wish a bitch would. No. Immediately becomes unfortunately, not even unfortunately. I have to go back to experiences where consent and choice were violated. And no shade, like, I didn't know what had happened to me was what had happened to me until after the fact. But it was definitely those spaces that, like, people send a representative first.
That part.
And then that representative stayed around longer than what they expected.
I may call them Decepticons.
Most definitely Decepticon, and I don't vibe with that. Be who you are for your pride. So therefore, that gives me the right, not even the right, that gives me the equitable opportunity to process, respond, and decide if this is in alignment with me. So it was specifically in a space of dealing with this individual. I was an undergrad that presented one way, but knew that they had ulterior, I don't want to say ulterior motives, that there was more to them than what they presented. Making it plain. Individual presented themselves as a full bottom, whatever. And I was like, okay, bet, because I didn't like bottoming, didn't have a desire to do it, whatever. But as the engagement and interactions consistently increased, like it was like, you're always having me do. I'm like, I don't do that. And that was never in my headspace to offer because that was never communicated as a request, right? There was an instance that dude just took it. And I was like, I don't like this. No, I don't like this. Still happened.
Oh.
Didn't like it.
Oh, no.
And so it definitely put me in a space to question my voice. Like, bitch, did you not hear me? Like, and not to laugh, but I mean, hell, you gotta laugh to keep from crying. So yeah, it was that experience, and in experiencing that, one, like after it happened, dude left, whatever, and I was just like, yeah, that's not you. I don't like that. I did not like that. There was nothing enjoyable for me with that. No. You took something that I could have willingly gave when I was ready, and also if you effectively communicated. But moving forward in life, what that did for me was really strengthen my communication. Yeah. Of no, bitch. This is what I like. This is what I want. That's it. No, I don't want any of that other stuff. And when that was violated, that therefore gave me justification to respond as I needed to respond. In story.
I'm about to say, I found out that I guess I was a predator. I'm a predator because somebody made that statement about people who like try to convert people. So this wasn't gonna be my answer, but since he said that, you know, I'm versed, and I used to like to date tops because I was like, ooh, I'm gonna get them the bottom, bitch. And that was my intention. And it was like, girl, we gonna whoop de whoop a couple of times, and I'm gonna just keep like either complaining or putting it in your ear that, hey, I want to do this, or at least if I can't stick this in here, can I lick this? You know, and so gradually we will work up to that. And I feel like because those sexual partners I had dealt with for a while, I think they felt comfortable to, you know, allow me the opportunity to do certain things that they didn't want to do. So I don't know if that makes me a predator, but somebody said that makes you a predator.
I don't feel that.
I don't know.
Because
they were consented to it?
They consented to it.
I didn't make them feel pressured, though.
But they consented to it, one. However, granted, you did come in with ulterior.
I did.
But I don't see that as a predatorial because, one, they consented to it. And then, two, where I look at it with that, you made it clear what you wanted from the jump. So, and you still decided to engage, knowing where eventually this would end up.
Well, that wasn't my uncomfortable moment. Maybe it was theirs.
That was theirs.
But mine was, you know, like when you think this only happened in the movies, but this actually happens in real life. When you're in a club and somebody grabs your ass, somebody grabs your arm and like, or your hand, and they want you to come over and engage with them. Just because I'm walking past doesn't mean that I want you to grab up on me.
So, or you get grabbed and pinned up against the vending machine and just start
making up, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, girl. I don't even like you like that. I don't even find you attractive. How you just gonna grab up on me like this? rough hands. What kind of skin condition you got? Just rubbing up on me. I don't know what kind of cooties that girl. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said I always thought that was in the movies, but when that happens in real life, I'm like,
but see, it happens in real life because it's normalized in movies.
right.
It's normalized on social media when you see those clips that like, this is appropriate. This is how you get your person.
And just because you think you find me attractive doesn't mean I find you attractive.
So bad.
Don't get mad if I'm showing you no attention. Because I ain't asked for this. You sending that dick pic, same as you grabbing up on me, like you know me. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Now me, I'm more classy and I'm not gonna cause a scene. I'm gonna just keep it pushing. But there, again, if your actions, if there's a consequence, you gotta be willing to accept the consequences. If you want to be that bold.
My man might be classy, but he knows how to also set a stage for a scene.
I'm not gonna do it though. No, because my man knows when we're in public, I try to uphold the image. And girl,
until a bitch tries them too far,
I'm not gonna break that character.
In public, in limelight. Let me get you in the back alley real quick.
I'm gonna get you in a classy way. I'm gonna handle the situation in a classy way. Now, again, how I respond is not how everybody else gonna respond. You know what I'm saying?
Very true. Because
somebody gonna cuss your ass out.
I wouldn't. Well, I would probably have curse words in my explosion of words, but bitch, you're gonna know you fucked up. You're going to know in that moment that you fucked up and you had me fucked up, and I'm going to be very specific,
right,
in where you fucked up.
Okay. Now, if you try to grab my hand, girl, make sure there's money in between. You know how your grandmother do when she like, don't tell your mama I gave you this. Yeah. But have some money in between, and I'm gonna still keep it pushing. But thank you. You pay for my drinks for the rest of the night. Shit.
About time you did something,
girl. And on that note, keep your hands to yourself.
Keep your hands.
Yes means yes. An absent of yes means no. So that's all, y'all. Make sure y'all follow us on all of our social medias. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have TikTok. On Sippin_on_love.
And as always, to keep the conversation going and the drink still flowing, continue to like and subscribe on all of our various podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And of course, YouTube. So again, we thank you so much for tuning in for our 3rd season. 3 whole seasons. Not 1, not 2 but 3 whole seasons. We thank you for your commitment to our work and our craft and how we consistently push the message forward of community, love, advancement. Yes. And then with that, if I haven't told you and if you haven't heard it before, I love you, we love you, and keep sipping on love. Peace out.